Welcome back to Red and Blue. I'm Robert Costa. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham appeared before a grand jury in Fulton County, Georgia, earlier today. The grand jury is investigating efforts by former President Trump and his allies to overturn the 2020 election. Court documents show the senator's appearance is connected to calls he made to Georgia election officials after the election, as well as his interactions with the Trump campaign. Senator Graham's appearance comes after he made multiple attempts to block the subpoena for his testimony. For more on this story, Tia Mitchell joins us now. She is the Washington correspondent for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Tia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
For those who are not following the Georgia grand jury every day, like you, what should they know about the prosecutor and about this case on this date? What's the big picture about where it stands and what it's all about?
Well, this is Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, who is the top attorney in Fulton County, which is Atlanta, basically. And what she's looking at is several things that fall under the umbrella of trying to overturn the election. So things like what officials were calling Georgia leaders, trying to get them to either call a special session or find the votes to make him the winner. Also, there was pressure on poll workers. Rudy Giuliani, who at the time was President Trump's personal attorney, came and gave a testimony at legislative hearings that later turned out to be problematic, as well as that slate of 16 fake electors. So it's a lot of things that the grand jury is looking at, but again, all under that umbrella. Again, it all kind of circles around for former President Donald Trump. He has not been subpoenaed himself as of yet, but it all kind of circulates around him and his closest allies.
What is it about Ms. Willis that most strikes you as a reporter in terms of her prosecutorial strategy, her backstory? What does she bring to this case that's important in your eyes?
Well, I think that, number one, she hasn't been on the job long, but she comes across as really confident in general. And we have to remember, she's doing other things, too. You know, she's prosecuting rappers under RICO laws in Georgia. She's handling routine, murder and everything else that comes with being a big city prosecutor. But in this probe of President Trump, she's been quite aggressive. She said she'll go wherever the facts lead her, even if it takes her all the way to the former president. So, again, she's shown a lot of grit and a lot of confidence as she navigates what is, number one, a very large investigation, but as we see, an investigation that's also very high profile.
Senator Graham's office issued a statement a few hours ago after he testified before the grand jury, and he said while he had been attempting to block this subpoena for a long time, he felt the experience today, taking questions, answering them, was a positive one, relatively speaking. What did you make of that statement?
I make of the statement, and there were some parameters, even though the various judges, as he tried for months to stop the subpoena, they all said he needed to come testify. But they said that he could not be asked about anything that regards his duties as a senator. But what was on the table is for him to talk about his interactions with the Trump campaign, perhaps his calls with state officials and other correspondents under those parameters. So I think, reading between the lines, it seems like perhaps what he was most worried about might be the part that he was able to kind of keep from talking about, perhaps. But I also think it shows that, like, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office and their attorneys and their investigators are trying hard to, treat people with respect and bring respect to the investigation.
And in our closing here, do you expect any indictments in the coming weeks or months? And do you expect the former president to be issued a subpoena at some point?
So we don't know about President Trump being subpoenaed. It's the big question in this investigation right now.
The January 6th committee issued him one.
Yes.
I'd be surprised if the Fulton County district attorney did not.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, because again, they're being really cautious and they want to bring respect to this investigation, knowing that it is so high profile. We do know that the grand jury is winding down. They're authorized through May, but it appears that they're winding down the investigative period, their period of doing all the witnesses.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, they're only authorized till May, so they need time to put their report together and their recommendations together. So the grand jury will have to deliberate and kind of come up with what they want to put in their report. The district attorney, Fani Willis, does have the final say over who should or should not face charges. But the grand jury does have a report to complete. So my colleagues back in Georgia have reported that it's starting to wind down. That doesn't mean that more people won't be subpoenaed, or really more people might come in who are currently still fighting their subpoenas, because there's quite a few of those. So they're still trying to get more people to come in, but it seems like they're getting to the phase of this investigation where they start saying, what do we have? What do we think is criminal, and who, if anyone, should face charges?
You would think that a special Senate election in Georgia in December would be more than enough for the AJC's Washington correspondent, but you also have an ongoing grand jury investigation. Tia Mitchell, thank you very much for being here.